Hey everybody, good morning. I'm going to go over an intro to Google Sheets, which is just like Microsoft Excel if you are in band or were absent or just need a quick refresher. So 5th and 6th grade so far, you're going to see in Google Classroom this assignment, Google Sheets. Our first kind of the data that we're going to be taking is everyone's favorite subject. So something just simple to kind of get started, but you can go ahead and open the assignment and then click on the blank template where you're going to do your work. I'm going to open up my blank template. You're going to notice that the title up here is blank template, just so that I know when I assign it, it's a blank Excel sheet. You can go ahead and change this here to probably favorite subject. Okay, a couple things about Excel. It is used to input and analyze and organize data. We can also do some different formulas with it. So we're going to talk about how we add a whole column of things or things like that. Just makes a lot of that type of stuff a lot easier. Also, one of the great things about Sheets or Excel is that you can make different types of graphs to show your data easier. So a couple things. There are columns, which are like A, B, C. You can see they go all the way down. Rows that are numbered, and then each individual box, I guess you can call it, is called a cell. So those are just some terminology. You can also add different sheets down here, and you can also rename them. So I use that quite frequently. So if you wanted some type of data on this sheet, you can input that. If you do the plus sign here, you can add a sheet. So you can go back and forth in between. So if you wanted, favorite subjects on this sheet, and then you wanted to, collect more data on everyone's favorite color or whatever, you could have that sheet there. And right click on it, you could rename it, change the color of what it looks like down here, just so it's easier to see. I'm going to go ahead and delete that one. It's going to ask me, are you sure? Yes. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is make a table that is pleasing to the eye, which means it's easy to read. So sometimes when people put things in Excel, they don't add borders or different colors or headings, things like that. And to me personally, it is a bit confusing. So first thing that we're going to do is write our heading. So the first one is just favorite subject. And then here are going to be, we just put the number of students. Okay, one thing that I use all the time is if, let's say I was typing favorite subjects that we surveyed, something that couldn't fit in there. If you click up here in see those two lines there, if you double click, it's automatically going to make it so that all of the text that you have in there fits. So once again, that's 2 lines here and then a quick double click, so 2 times quickly. But I'm going to Control Z, I'm going to undo that. But I might make it a little bit wider. Oh, it didn't go off there. You can also, when you have here, click and drag so that you can make it as big as you want. Okay, favorite subject or number of students. When you click and drag over here, so you can see that they're selected, your paint bucket up here will change the fill color. So a lot of times I like to make my heading different color. Another thing I can do, if I click and drag on it, is make it bold. I can make it underlined. Control U if you can't find it on here. Or we know this one changes the alignment. So a lot of times I like to make sure that it's centered. You can also change the font here and size. So we could do that. That way it's a little bit more interesting. And I guess Arial's fine for right now. So once again, I'm going to double click here because now that I made it bigger, and that one made it smaller. I'll click and drag. Okay, so it's good to go. So let's say we surveyed, click in here so I can type reading, math, science, so I can type social studies, and writing. Okay, so if we would go in here and then put the number of students. One thing we can also do, once again, if we click and drag, we can change the text, we can change the size, we can change the alignment, things like that. If I wanted, let's just say we have, 6, 5, 3, 4. How many of you like writing? We'll say 4. We'll tie. Okay, I don't know. I just put random numbers in there. But if I want to click and drag over here, let's say I want to make this a lighter color so it's easier to kind of see what goes together. So if you'll watch, I'll create math, make that its own color, science, its own color. And notice I'm using lighter colors. So let's say I go dark blue. Okay, that's super hard to read. So we'll come up here to undo. Make sure that you use some of the lighter options that you have. And we can do a light purple. Okay, so another thing, I like these numbers to be a little bit closer. So if I want to change all of them, I just click and highlight all of them and I can change the alignment. So I can either center them, or if you want them even that much closer, you can do that. I like them centered. Another thing I like to do with tables is to make it have a border. Okay, just to make it a little easier to see once again for me. So I'll come up here. This is your border option. There's different options here. So it kind of shows you where you want them to be highlighted. You can change the color here or the type of line, border style. So I'm going to do this one because I want border over everything. Did I get that top one? Yeah. Okay. So that looks a little bit better. And once again, this is, I've got lots of space here. I could go ahead and make this bigger so that I could read it. And I could even go ahead and make this a little bit bigger. And once again, resize. And you kind of just play with it, what, you know, looks the best, what's easiest for you to see. If I click and drag over this, I can use my keyboard shortcut, Control U, to underline. Okay, there's just kind of another line in there. So the color, I think, helps versus some people will come up here. I'll just kind of redo this really quick. Number of students reading, math, science, social studies, writing, and we have 6, 5, 3, 4, 4. Okay, so you can see the difference there, how this graph looks. That just took me a little bit of time to do, and then this one. It's so much easier to see, a little bit more pleasing to the eye, is like I like to say. The next thing that we're going to do once we have a table in here that's kind of organized, looks nice, we can come up to the data that we want. So we can click and drag over top. See, it's all highlighted. And we'll come up to Insert and Chart. Okay, it's going to automatically give you one of these graphs, which you can click and drag and move around. You can resize, and there's so many different customizations that you can make over here when you choose Customize. Also, chart style, or wait, let's see the data right here, chart type. So if I wanted a pie graph, things like that, it automatically inputs the data that you have here. Now, if I wanted to change this title, I can just double click in here. So number of students versus favorite subject doesn't really make sense, but we could say, just call it favorite subjects. Okay, and now it shows you here. So 6 was the highest number. So we've got 6 for reading, 6 for math, all that stuff. And you can customize this. It tells you down here, these are the favorite subjects. These are the number of students. Okay, their little legend, our color over here. When you click on this, double click or just double click on your graph, all of this will come up that you can change. So if you read these, let's say titles right here, this is in the customize. This is where you can, this is our title. You could change the font of it if you wanted. Notice it changed over there. The color, which I like to change it to black. You can bold. Here you can make it centered. Okay, all of that stuff. If you want, and there's so much, we're going to play with this a little bit more, so I don't want to get too in depth, but you can go ahead and change that. If you wanted to change the color, it will change all of them the same. But if you wanted it to be, well, that's hard to see. That's kind of what I had here. Okay, so if you wanted the color to be changed, you can see that. Once again, let's say you wanted your table on one page and I wanted to add a sheet down here. I could add sheet and I wanted my graph on a different page. Okay, I can Control C, which we all know is to copy. I'll move it here, Control V, and then I could make this bigger or smaller, or if I just wanted to print just this, I could do that, and then if I wanted to delete this, select it and hit delete, or if I just wanted to keep it separate, I could do that. So quick intro, we'll be surveying our class and inserting a nice looking table and also a graph here. So hopefully this helps. See ya.